Hello, hello, and welcome to today's unplanned stream. I'm sorry I have not warned you in a hat. I wasn't sure if I were going to record it at all because I've been ill for some time and I'm not still recovered. But I've been wanting to record a video for you on another series of videos for you on Upwork, and that is about building your business on Upwork. And I wanted to approach, sorry, I'm moving my screen. I wanted to approach the question how many applications you need to get one client on Upwork, or how many clients you need on Upwork. And this is an important question because when you enter the Upwork, you don't know whether it's actually worth it and whether you can actually, make it worth for you, to work there and to apply there, to waste your time there, to whether you will be able to make a solid income there. So in this regard, it's very important to understand how much effort are you going to put into the platform to make it work for you. And any platform requires work, upfront work from you, and investments of both time and money. So if you're serious about this, you may as well be strategic about this. And this is what our today's short episode will be about. Quite short. I'm not planning to make this live stream long, so we'll jump straight into the topic. Now, if you plan to build your business on Upwork, and this is specifically about building a business on Upwork, whether you take your freelancing solopreneurship seriously, or if you're planning to build your business, team, to build your team on Upwork, to start your agency on Upwork, or to develop your agency, to grow your agency on Upwork, this is exactly the episode for you. And it's mostly geared towards agency owners, but it's also good for freelancers because I hope that you will be able to understand how much effort it will require from you to work on Upwork. Now, if you plan to build your business on Upwork, whatever it is, you'd better have a goal, a sales goal in mind, and a plan to be able to meet that goal, right? And this is where most entrepreneurs and Upwork agency owners find themselves at a loss because they feel like Upwork is not your typical sales channel, right? But let me assure you it is. You just have to bear in mind whatever specifics there are on the platform, to include them in the calculation of your lead cost and your client acquisition cost, right? And this way you'll be able to understand whether or not it's actually worth it building a company profile there under some Upwork agency account, right? Now, how can you do that? And let's assume that you want to create an effective sales channel out of Upwork, which is totally possible. And there are many successful examples for that. There are many Upwork agencies who rock it on the platform, right? And how do you proceed from this point? And what do you do after making a decision to build your reputation on Upwork? And I'll share my screen in just a moment, but let us assume that sales goal always comes first. So you set your sales goal. And when you just enter Upwork, when you just start working on a platform, you're quite vague about what you want to make out of it. But put some sort of a goal in your mind. For example, you want to, say, make, $3,000, $5,000 month from Upwork or whatever. So your ideal goal, no cosmic goals, no, high rocketing revenues, whatever, just realistic goal that you may reach. And before I share my screen, I want to tell you that I've been actually sharing not this specifically, but I've been sharing all these details with my patrons. So if you want to get the full access to the document I'm going to share right now, and to the full calculations of the formulas I'll be sharing right now, you may find my Patreon community useful, because we've been having like 5 live streams already dedicated to specific topic, and one of them was a client acquisition cost and lead acquisition cost on Upwork. and with calculations, with formulas, with all of the things, and you will get an access to that if you check out my Patreon page. And let me just share with you right now. I hope you can see my screen right now. Now, the first thing, like I mentioned, the first thing to understand how many applications you need to get a client on Upwork, the first thing you want to do is to set your plan or your sales goal. And in case of an agencies, I strongly advise to plan for a year. So set a yearly plan. And then you can understand what your quarterly plan is, right? You just divide it by 4. And now, if you have an understanding of what your average project cost might be, and that is different for each person and for each agency or company, you put this average cost right here, and then the project cost after Upwork commission, right here. And now, having all these numbers in mind, you can actually calculate your metrics. And these 2 tables are metrics decomposition, and here are all the formulas in this table. And again, you will have a full access to that on my Patreon page. But to give you understanding how you can do that, you can invent your own formulas and try to understand how you do that. But basically how it's done. So here's your yearly plan. You can also set your quarterly plan out of your yearly plan, and you should get an understanding what your average project cost might be. For example, it's $5,000. For agencies, it's good number, it's average, average project cost number, quite average, right? Now, for you to reach your quarterly plan, with your average project cost being $5,000, for example, you can understand how many clients you will need in a quarter. You simply divide your quarterly plan by your average project cost. So this is actually how many clients you need in a quarter, right? This is the number. Now, bearing in mind the close rate and the sales qualified leads for a quarter, lead qualified rates, whatever, response rate. So I'm taking the response rate of 10%. Of course, it might be higher. For example, for us, it's higher, really. It's 30%. And sometimes even more. We have quite a good response rate. Sometimes even it's 50%. So I'm setting the one that is, generally acceptable and what is recommended by digital marketers, and that is 10%. That is also considered to be a good conversion rate, so response rate. Now, bearing in mind this, you can calculate the needed bid quantity per quarter. You multiply your response rate by your responses per quarter. And that is how you get your needed bid per quarter. And now you divide this bid quantity per quarter to 3, because quarter are 3 months, so you divide it by 3, and that's how many bids you should make in a month to reach your goal, your quarterly goal and your yearly goal, right? So how many applications you need to get a client on Upwork totally depends on your sales goal. So to make it short, because actually, if I were to explain you this table, in full, each and every formula, that would take us more than an hour. The live stream for my patrons lasted an hour and 20 minutes. So just to give you an understanding how it is done. To answer the question of how many applications you need to get a client on Upwork, it totally depends on your sales goal. So if your sales goal, if your quarterly plan is to make, say, $25,000 in a quarter, and you should understand what your average project cost is, here it is, what your average project cost is, then you will be able to calculate your average cost after how many clients you will need in a quarter, And bearing in mind the close rate and the lead qualified rate and the sales qualified leads for a quarter, you can calculate the needed bid quantity per quarter and the needed bid quantity per month. Now, this is not, the end of it, because you should also understand that bidding on Upwork or sending applications on Upwork takes time. And it is actually a full-time position, lead generator or bidder on Upwork. And depending on your sales goal, you might actually understand whether or not you need help. If you're an agency owner, I strongly recommend that you have a salesperson who will be qualifying leads, qualifying projects, and applying to those projects in the correct manner and in the right way. And bearing in mind your sales goal and, your yearly plan, your quarterly plan, you will be able to understand whether or not you can do this on your own as a small agency owner, or if you should invite a salesperson to your team, and how many salespeople you should be inviting. Like in our case, it was like 1.5 people that we should be inviting to the sales team. In your case, it might be totally different. So to give you an understanding of how many applications you should be making to get a client on Upwork, you should start with your sales goal or yearly plan, or quarterly plan, whatever you call it. And then you actually calculate your response rate. And based on your response rate, you can understand how many bids you should be making in order to hit the quantity of clients you need. So it's in a nutshell how it is done. So I hope it was not too messy, because really, if I were to explain this, I don't want this live stream to be too long. But I hope you got an understanding of how it is done. And I explained this in more details, like I mentioned, on my Patreon page, including the formulas. And you will be having the access to this document. You will be able to download it, to copy it on your Google Drive, and to play with the formulas and to set your goal and to calculate your own metrics. So if you're interested, you're welcome to join. And not only this, you will get an access to the 4 more live streams dedicated to selling on not only on Upwork, to writing sales emails, to sales email sequences and such. So I'm sure you will be pretty excited to get an access to that. And in the meanwhile, there are tons of free advice here on YouTube. Check out my playlists on how to build your business on Upwork. And if you have any questions, related to calculation of metrics on Upwork, because this is what it is. Upwork is a sales channel. And if you want to grow your business on Upwork, you should do it strategically. And what I advise you to do is to break down your response rates, how many applications you make in a month, and thus you will understand how many applications you need to make to get the required quantity of clients on Upwork. Now, I hope it makes sense. If you have any specific questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll try to answer all of those. I'm sorry again, I haven't warned you about this live stream. I just wanted to, I wanted to record a video, but I've been ill recently, so it was a short live stream. Hope it was understandable. You got a general idea of how it is done. If not, sorry, I messed up. But thank you for being with me. And if any questions, just let me know. See you soon. Bye-bye.